In the vast emptiness of space, something strange happened. For years, the universe had been filled with countless stars, planets, and alien civilizations. But nothing could have prepared anyone for what was about to unfold. It all started with a signal. The signal was unlike anything ever seen before. At first, it was a faint whisper, a quiet hum that seemed to come from nowhere. No one knew where it was from or what it meant, but it wasn't just static. It was a pattern, a message hidden in the noise. At first, the galaxy didn't notice. It was so faint that most of the advanced civilizations didn't even care. The peaceful races and the powerful empires all dismissed it as nothing more than a cosmic coincidence. After all, why would anyone pay attention to a weak signal coming from a small unknown planet far away in the corner of the galaxy? But soon, something changed. The signal grew stronger. It began pulsing, echoing across space like a heartbeat. It wasn't just loud. It had an energy to it that stirred the very fabric of space. And then, it became clear to anyone who cared to listen. This was no random noise. This was intentional. Someone, or something, was sending a message. The first to notice were the scientists of the great alien empires. They immediately tried to decode the message. But no matter how hard they tried, the code was unlike anything they had ever seen before. It was more than just a language. It was a riddle, one that no one could solve. The message didn't make sense, and yet it felt like it was alive. The signal pulsed, waiting for someone to understand. As the signal grew louder, a strange feeling began to spread across the galaxy. Something was coming, something big. The long-ignored planet at the center of the signal, Earth, suddenly became a topic of conversation in galactic meetings. The most powerful species in the universe, those who had long ruled the stars, began to worry. "Where is this signal coming from?" asked the leaders of the Zorathians, one of the oldest and most feared races in the galaxy. "Earth," came the reply, and that name alone sent a shiver down the spines of those who had once thought the human race was nothing more than a curious primitive species. The Zorathians had known Earth's reputation. The humans were weak, small, and just starting to explore space. The idea that such a species could send out a signal that was shaking the foundations of the galaxy was laughable. But the more the signal pulsed, the more the Zorathians began to wonder, could Earth have discovered something powerful? Or worse, had they been hiding something all along? By now, other species across the galaxy had begun to take notice. The Exarch, a race of fierce warriors who controlled half of the galaxy's known space, sent scouts to investigate. The Cygnos, a peaceful race of brilliant scientists, began researching the signal, desperate to understand its origins. The Ilthians, who had built a vast empire through diplomacy, feared that the unknown power behind this signal could shift the balance of the entire galaxy. But while all these species tried to decode the message, none of them could understand it. It didn't help that the signal kept changing, evolving, almost as if it was mocking their efforts. At times, it seemed to grow quieter, only to flare up again with even more power, as if daring anyone to try to decipher it. Something about it felt urgent. The humans, oblivious to the growing interest in their little planet, continued with their lives. They had no idea that the entire galaxy was watching them, waiting for the next move. But in the quiet corners of the human government, something was happening. The message was growing clearer. A group of humans, small in number but highly intelligent, had begun to realize that the signal wasn't just a random call. It was a beacon, a call for help, or perhaps a signal of challenge. In the control rooms of the secret government facility, scientists worked day and night to understand what was happening. They stared at their screens, looking for patterns, decoding signals, running simulations. But all they knew for sure was this: the galaxy was about to change. As the signal pulsed, the humans finally made the decision. It was time to act. The world's leaders were told of the secret project, one that had been running under the radar for decades. Earth wasn't just trying to communicate. They had been building something, something enormous. A fleet like no other. Arts. At first, the humans had been working on it in secret. They had built ships, massive ships that could travel across the galaxy. Ships that were powered by a new kind of energy, an energy that could bend space itself. It was a technology that no one had seen before, and it was almost ready to be revealed. And then the signal changed. It wasn't just a message anymore. It was a call to arms. The humans knew that they weren't just being watched. They were being tested. This was no simple signal. It was a warning and a challenge. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity was not as weak as they had once believed. Something was coming from Earth, something that would change everything. This should set the stage for the rest of your story, creating suspense while staying engaging and easy to follow. The readers can feel the building tension and mystery around the humans and their unknown power. Would you like me to continue with any additional paths? The mysterious signal pulsed across the galaxy. Something deep within Earth's hidden vaults began to stir. Unknown to most of the world, humanity had been preparing for something big, something that would change the entire galaxy forever. For years, in secret underground facilities, teams of engineers, scientists, and military leaders had been working on a project so massive that it could not even be imagined by most people. The humans had been building ships, huge, enormous ships, each one big enough to carry entire cities inside them. But these ships were not just ordinary spaceships. They were something more. They were the key to unlocking Earth's hidden potential. The project had started out small, barely noticed by anyone, but as the years passed, the ships grew bigger, and the technology grew more advanced. Human scientists had found new ways to harness energy that no one else had even dreamed of. This energy could bend space and time, allowing these colossal ships to travel faster than light across the galaxy in a matter of hours. But the ships were not just advanced. They were built with purpose. Their weapons were powerful, designed not only to protect humanity, but to defend the galaxy itself. The humans had created a fleet that could stand against any force in the universe, and they had kept it hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal it to the rest of the galaxy. Now that moment had arrived. The signal that had been sent out from Earth was the first sign. It was not a cry for help. It was a call to action. The humans were ready. In the heart of a secret military base, deep beneath the surface of Earth, the final preparations were underway. The massive ships were rising from their hidden docks, one by one, as the engineers made the final adjustments. The ships were so large that they seemed to touch the sky, their metal hulls gleaming with a strange, otherworldly glow. At first, the world's leaders had no idea how to respond. They had known about the project, of course, but no one had truly understood the scale of it. There had been rumors about massive ships and strange new technologies, but no one had expected anything like this. Now, as the ships slowly took to the sky, the world was forced to watch in stunned silence. No one spoke. No one knew what to say. But one thing was clear. Earth had changed. The ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were massive, so huge that they seemed to stretch across the sky like mountains. Their hulls were made from a material that no one could identify, stronger than anything known to the galaxy, with energy shields that could withstand the force of a supernova. As the ships launched, they moved with a power and grace that stunned even the most advanced alien races. The engines hummed with energy, and the ships cut through space like nothing else could. Some of the most powerful species in the galaxy, who had been watching Earth from afar, began to realize that something incredible was happening. The humans weren't just sending a message anymore. They were showing the galaxy what they were capable of. Back on Earth, the leaders of the project watched nervously as their ships powered up, ready to leave the planet for the stars. They had done their best to keep this secret, but now the time had come to reveal the truth. The humans had a fleet that could rival anything the galaxy had ever seen. And as the last of the ships lifted off, it became clear that the galaxy would never be the same. On the galactic stage, Earth was no longer a small, insignificant planet. It was a power to be reckoned with. The ships were not just symbols of strength. They were symbols of humanity's determination, a message to the entire galaxy that humans were ready to take their place among the stars. The signal they had sent was not a warning. It was a promise. The galaxy had been watching, and now the humans were showing what they were capable of. This was only the beginning. The moment had come. The humans had made their move, and the galaxy was watching. As the colossal ships slowly rose from Earth's atmosphere and cut through the stars, something powerful was felt across the galaxy. The peaceful races, the great empires, and even the fiercest warriors were staring at their screens in disbelief. The first ship to leave Earth was known as the Titan. It was enormous, so big that its size seemed almost impossible. The Titan was a city in the sky, with thousands of rooms and compartments, and its power was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ship's engines roared to life, and it shot into space with incredible speed. The shockwave from the ship's engines rippled through space, causing the nearby planets to shake. Even the most advanced alien species that had watched humanity for years were stunned. They had never seen anything like this. The Titan moved silently through the vastness of space, a shining beacon of human strength and power. It wasn't just a ship, it was a message. In the Grand Hall of the Xark Empire, the most powerful military race in the galaxy, the leaders were holding a meeting. They were not pleased. The humans, a race they had long considered weak and primitive, had just launched a ship the size of a moon. The Exarch had always prided themselves on their strength, but now they were feeling something they had never expected to feel before. Fear. What are they doing? One of the Exarch leaders asked, his voice low and full of worry. He stared at the screen, watching the Titan as it traveled through space, its engines glowing bright. They are showing us their strength, another leader said, his face dark with concern. We underestimated them. This is only the beginning. As the Titan moved further into space, it suddenly sent out a transmission. It wasn't a message anyone had expected. The transmission was simple but clear, a single sentence that echoed across the galaxy. We are here, and we are ready. The message was received by every major race in the galaxy, from the peaceful Cygnos to the proud Zorathians. All of them paused for a moment. No one had anticipated that humanity would reveal such power, and no one knew what to do next. But then, as if to show that the humans weren't stopping with just one ship, the Titan sent a signal. One by one, the other ships began to rise. There were 5 more, each as massive as the first, each more advanced in design and technology than anything anyone had ever seen. The fleet had been hidden away, waiting for this moment. Now Earth had sent its fleet into space, and the message was clear. The humans were no longer a species to be ignored. On Earth, as the second ship, the Vanguard, took off, the people watched in awe. They had never seen anything like it. The sky above them was filled with the rising ships, each one larger and more powerful than the last. The leaders of the world had been waiting for this moment, but now that it was here, they too were stunned by the sheer power of what humanity had created. On the planet of Cygnos, one of the most peaceful races in the galaxy, the scientists watched the transmissions from Earth in silence. They could hardly believe their eyes. This is not possible, one scientist whispered, staring at the screen. How did they build this? How did they hide it for so long? At that moment, the Cygnos leaders knew that their galaxy had just shifted. Earth was no longer a small, insignificant planet. It was a new power, one that could not be ignored. The shockwave from the human fleet was felt across the galaxy. The peaceful races began to fear the unknown power of humanity. The warlike species, like the Exarch, began to prepare for something they had never expected: war. But even they knew that they were no match for this new fleet. As the human ships drifted into the vastness of space, their lights shining like beacons, the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The humans had just made their first show of power, and they had done it in the most impressive way possible. The question now was, what would the humans do next? The fleets of the galaxy, both the peaceful and the warlike, had been shaken. What was clear was that humanity was no longer a weak species. The question that haunted everyone was, what had they been hiding all along? And most importantly, what did the humans want? As the massive human ships continued their journey through space, the galaxy was thrown into chaos. The once peaceful and proud galactic empires watched in shock as Earth's fleet moved forward, its power and might impossible to ignore. For the first time in a long time, the strongest species in the galaxy felt uncertain. The humans had done the unthinkable. They had risen from nothing and built a fleet that was already shaking the foundations of the galaxy. The first to react were the Zorathians, a race of warlike beings known for their strength and dominance. They had ruled a vast portion of the galaxy for centuries, and their warriors were feared by all. But now, they were looking at the human fleet with unease. "What do we know about this?" asked the Zorathian Supreme Commander, his voice harsh and demanding. He paced back and forth in the council chamber, staring at the screens showing the human ships. The entire fleet was moving in perfect formation, its power undeniable. The Zorathians had long believed that Earth was nothing but a small, weak planet, its people unworthy of attention. But now, they realized they had been wrong. These ships were not like anything they had ever encountered. The Zorathians had sent their best spies to Earth for years, but they had never found anything like this. The humans had kept their fleet hidden, until now. "They've been planning this for decades," another officer said, voice filled with disbelief. "We underestimated them. They have ships that could rival anything we have, and they're not even showing all of them. This is just the beginning." The Supreme Commander slammed his fist on the table, frustration building. "This cannot be allowed. We cannot let these humans become a threat to our empire. We need to act quickly." But the Zorathians weren't the only ones who were worried. Across the galaxy, the Cygnos, a peaceful species known for their intelligence and diplomacy, were also struggling to understand what had just happened. The Cygnos had always been the galaxy's mediators, bringing together opposing races and helping to prevent wars. They had never expected to face something like this. In the grand halls of the Cygnos Council, the leaders gathered to discuss the sudden rise of humanity. The Cygnos were known for their calm and peaceful ways, but this new situation had thrown them off balance. "We must understand them," said the chief diplomat, an elderly Cygnos with bright eyes. "They are not like the other races we have met. They are different." "But how different?" asked one of the younger diplomats, worry in his voice. "We've never seen anything like this. The humans, if they wanted to, could wipe us all out, and we don't even know their intentions." The leaders of the Cygnos were torn. On one hand, they saw the humans as potential allies, a new power that could help bring peace to the galaxy. But on the other hand, they feared what the humans might do if they were pushed too far. The galaxy was full of powerful species, and no one knew how the humans would fit into this already complicated world. Meanwhile, the Xark, the galaxy's most aggressive species, were preparing for war. The Xark were warriors at heart, and their entire civilization was built around strength and conquest. They had watched humanity's rise with increasing alarm. The question they asked themselves was not whether to fight the humans, but how to fight them. "We have no choice," said the Xark general, a towering figure with red skin and sharp eyes. "They have power we have never seen before, but if we don't act now, they will take over the galaxy. We cannot let that happen." The Xark, known for their brutal tactics and advanced weaponry, began to form alliances with other warrior species. They called for a united front, a coalition of races that could challenge humanity before they became too strong. Their plan was clear. They needed to strike fast, before humanity could fully organize and show their true strength. But not everyone in the galaxy was ready to go to war. On the peaceful planet of the Andorians, a species that had always believed in diplomacy and peace, there was a growing movement to reach out to the humans. The Andorians had long worked alongside the Cygnos in an effort to bring peace to the galaxy. But with the humans' sudden rise, the Andorians believed that it might be time for a new approach. "We cannot face them with weapons," said an Andorian diplomat, a soft-spoken figure with a calm demeanor. "We must meet them with words. If they are truly ready to join the galaxy, then we must give them the chance." But not all Andorians agreed. Some believed that the humans were too dangerous to be trusted, and as the debate continued, the galaxy waited in fear, unsure of what the humans would do next. What was clear was this: Earth's rise had shaken the galaxy to its core. No one knew if humanity would come in peace or if they had plans for domination. The once powerful species of the galaxy, who had ruled for centuries, were now facing a new reality. The humans were no longer a race to be ignored. They were a force to be reckoned with. And as the different species scrambled to react, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. As the human fleet continued to move through the stars, the galaxy was in turmoil. The reactions of the different species had created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. The once peaceful galaxy was now on the brink of something much larger, a conflict that no one had seen coming. In the center of this chaos stood the Galactic Council, a large group made up of the most powerful races in the galaxy. For centuries, the Council had been the place where decisions were made, where peace treaties were signed, and where matters of the universe were discussed. It was a place where diplomacy and negotiation had always been the keys to survival. But now, as the humans' presence grew stronger, the Council was divided. Some members believed that the humans should be welcomed into the galaxy, while others saw them as a serious threat. The question was no longer whether Earth would be accepted, but whether it should be destroyed before it grew any more powerful. The council chamber was silent as the representatives of each race took their seats. The room was large, filled with people and species from all corners of the galaxy. Alien diplomats and military leaders filled the room, their faces tense with worry. They had come to discuss the human situation, but no one was sure how to begin. The first to speak was the Cygnos representative, a tall and wise being named Hylara. She had always been a voice of reason, someone who believed that the galaxy could be united through peace and understanding. "We must approach the humans carefully," Hylara said, her voice calm but firm. "We cannot assume they are a threat. What they have shown us so far is their strength, yes, but strength does not necessarily mean aggression. They could be seeking peace, a chance to join our galaxy and contribute to its future." There was a murmur of agreement from some of the members, but others remained silent, unsure of what to say. The Zorathians, who had long feared humanity's rise, were not so eager to accept peace. A Zorathian leader, Commander Vor, stood up next. He was large, with sharp features and an intense gaze. The room went quiet as he spoke, his voice full of anger. "We cannot trust them," Commander Vor growled. "We have seen what they are capable of. These humans are no different from any other species that has risen to power. They will take our worlds if we let them. We must act now, before they grow too strong." His words echoed through the chamber, and the room fell into an uneasy silence. The Zorathians had always been known for their military might, and many in the room feared their judgment. But others questioned whether they had enough evidence to declare the humans a threat. A representative from the Andorians, a race known for their diplomatic skills, spoke next. His name was Valon, and he was respected for his calm and thoughtful nature. "I understand the concerns of the Zorathians," Valon said, "but we cannot assume the worst. We must give the humans the benefit of the doubt. If they are truly as powerful as we fear, then we must talk to them. We cannot start a war based on fear alone." The debate continued for hours, each representative offering their opinions and concerns. Some believed the humans should be destroyed before they could pose a real threat. Others argued that humanity deserved a chance to prove themselves, to show that they could work alongside the galaxy's established races. In the end, it was the Cygnos who convinced the majority of the Council to hold off on immediate action. The humans had shown power, but they had not yet shown hostility. The galaxy needed to understand their intentions before jumping to conclusions. The decision was made. Humanity would be given a chance to explain themselves. The Galactic Council voted to send an emissary to Earth. This emissary, a representative of the Council, would be sent to speak directly with the human leaders and learn more about their true intentions. The hope was that a peaceful solution could be found. But if the humans showed any sign of aggression, the Council would not hesitate to act. As the meeting came to a close, the representatives of the different species filed out of the chamber. The decision had been made, but it was not a final one. There was still a sense of unease in the air. The fate of the galaxy was hanging in the balance. On Earth, the leaders were preparing for the next steps. The message had been received. The galaxy would give them a chance to prove themselves. But what would the humans do next? Would they take this opportunity for peace, or would they show the galaxy that their power was meant to dominate? As the human fleet moved forward, the tension only grew. The galaxy was watching. The future of humanity, and the fate of the galaxy itself, would depend on what happened next. As the human fleet moved farther into space, the galaxy began to realize that everything was changing. The massive ships sent out by Earth were more powerful than anyone had expected, and now every race in the galaxy had to figure out what to do about it. The Galactic Council, which represented the most powerful species across the stars, called for an urgent meeting. The Council had always been the place where the galaxy's most important decisions were made. It was a place for peace talks, trade agreements, and dealing with galactic issues. But now, the Council faced a new kind of challenge, a challenge that could shape the future of the galaxy. Representatives from every race gathered in the Council chamber. There were the Zorathians, fierce warriors with their sharp features and red skin. The Cygnos, peaceful beings known for their wisdom and intelligence. The Exarch, who were ready for war at any moment. All of them sat in silence, unsure of how to react to the sudden rise of the humans. Tylara, the Cygnos representative, stood first. Her voice was calm but strong, and her words carried weight in the chamber. "We must approach the humans carefully," she said. "They have shown us their power, yes, but we do not know what they want. We must reach out to them, understand their intentions. If they come in peace, we should welcome them into the galaxy." Some members of the Council agreed. They believed that Earth's rise could bring a new chapter to the galaxy, a chapter of unity and peace. The humans could be allies, a new force to help bring balance to the galaxy. But not everyone agreed. Commander Vor of the Zorathians stood next. His large frame filled the room as he glared at the other members. He was angry, his deep voice filled with distrust. "The humans cannot be trusted," he growled. "They have built weapons powerful enough to destroy us all. We cannot risk letting them grow stronger. We need to strike first before they do." The tension in the room grew thick. The Zorathians had always been a warlike species, but their confidence was shaken by the power of the human fleet. They saw the humans as a growing threat, something that could topple their empire if left unchecked. But there were others who spoke against war. Valon, an Andorian diplomat, stood up next. The Andorians were known for their peaceful ways, and Valon had always believed in diplomacy over conflict. "We cannot start a war without understanding who the humans really are," he said. "They have not attacked anyone yet. If they wanted to conquer us, they could have done so already. We need to speak to them, learn about their intentions." The debate raged on for hours. Some races, like the Zorathians and Tark, pushed for a military response. Others, like the Cygnos and Andorians, argued for diplomacy. The Council was divided, unsure of which path to take. Finally, after much debate, a decision was made. The Council agreed to send a delegation to Earth. The emissary would speak directly with the humans, learn what they wanted, and try to find a peaceful solution. If the humans showed any sign of aggression, the Council would act quickly to defend themselves. The room fell quiet as the vote was cast. The decision was made. The galaxy would give the humans a chance. The fate of the galaxy now rested on what the humans would do next. As the members of the Council left the chamber, the weight of the decision hung over them. There was no certainty in what would happen. The humans could choose peace, or they could choose to dominate the galaxy. The next steps would determine everything. Back on Earth, the leaders of the human race were preparing for their moment. The galaxy was watching. The message had been sent. They were ready. But would they show the galaxy they were worthy of trust, or would they reveal a darker side? The fate of the galaxy was no longer in the hands of the great empires. It rested with the humans, and their actions would determine the future. As the Galactic Council sent their emissary to Earth, the people of the planet were filled with mixed emotions. They had sent their fleets into space, showing their power to the galaxy, but now they were being asked to prove their intentions. The pressure was immense. On Earth, the leaders gathered in the massive war room. The room was full of people in uniforms, scientists, diplomats, and military strategists. All eyes were on the holographic display, showing the fleet's position in space. It was time for Earth to show the galaxy who they were. President Lena Wright stood at the head of the table. She had been the one to give the order to send the fleet, and now she was responsible for what happened next. She looked around the room, her face calm, but her mind racing with questions. What did the galaxy want from them? Would the peaceful way be possible, or would humanity have to defend itself? "We must be careful," President Wright said, her voice steady. "We don't know what the Council will ask of us. If they want peace, we should offer it. But if they come to challenge us, we are ready." General Marcus Riker, the head of Earth's military, stood up next. His face was hardened from years of battle, but there was something in his eyes, a deep understanding that Earth was no longer the small, isolated planet it once was. "If they come to us in peace, we will show them that we seek the same. But if they come to test us, they will see the full power of humanity," General Riker said firmly. The room fell silent. Everyone knew that Earth had the power to defend itself. The fleet was strong, and humanity's technology was far more advanced than many had realized. But there was still doubt about whether humanity was truly ready to interact with the galaxy, or if their power would make them a target for destruction. A soft beep interrupted the silence. The message from the Galactic Council emissary had arrived. President Wright motioned to the screen, and the hologram of the emissary appeared. It was a being from the Cygnos, tall and graceful, with large eyes that shone with intelligence. "I am Ambassador Tylara of the Cygnos," the emissary said in a calm voice. "The Galactic Council has decided to extend an invitation to Earth. We wish to speak with your leaders, to understand your intentions. This is a moment of great importance. We ask that you show us your peaceful nature, and we will listen." Tylara's words were simple, but they carried a weight that made the room feel even heavier. Earth was now at a crossroads. The invitation was clear, but so was the underlying message. Humanity's future in the galaxy was uncertain, and their actions now would decide everything. President Wright nodded and spoke with confidence. "Ambassador Tylara, we accept your invitation. We will show you our peaceful intentions. We only ask for a chance to prove ourselves. Our actions in space were not meant to threaten, but to protect and show that humanity is ready to join the galaxy." General Riker's expression remained serious, but there was a sense of relief in the air. The first step had been taken. Peaceful talks would begin. But deep down, everyone knew that the tension was far from over. If anything went wrong, it could spiral into something much darker. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the other races were watching closely. The Zorethians, the Exarch, and even the peaceful Andorians were all waiting to see how Earth would respond. Some feared that the humans might take this opportunity to expand their power even further. Others hoped that this would be the start of a new chapter of cooperation. On Earth, the leaders prepared for the upcoming meeting. A delegation was being sent to meet with the Cygnos representative on a neutral space station, far from Earth's borders. It would be the first face-to-face meeting between the humans and the galaxy's most influential species. The future of humanity depended on it. As President Wright and General Riker watched the fleet's ships moving in formation, they couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and no matter how strong humanity was, there would always be new challenges ahead. But for now, the path was clear. Earth would take the first step toward understanding, and perhaps peace. The day had finally arrived. The human delegation, led by President Lena Wright and General Marcus Riker, stood ready to meet the emissary from the Galactic Council. Their ship was set to dock at a massive space station located at the center of the galaxy. The station was neutral ground, a place where races from all over the galaxy could meet in peace. As their ship approached the station, the vastness of space around them felt almost overwhelming. The station was a marvel of technology, its metal walls glowing with lights, and its corridors lined with symbols from countless species. It was here, in this quiet, neutral place, that humanity would either prove its worth or face the consequences of its actions. President Wright looked out the window at the distant stars. There was no turning back now. The future of Earth and its place in the galaxy depended on what would happen next. "We are ready, Madam President," General Riker said, his voice calm but filled with resolve. "Whatever happens, we stand by our decisions." Wright nodded. "We'll show them who we are. We've come too far to back down now." As their ship docked, a group of alien diplomats, led by Ambassador Tylara of the Cygnos, awaited them. Tylara had been the one to deliver the message, and now she stood before them in the docking bay, her long, graceful figure framed by the bright lights of the station. The Cygnos emissary smiled warmly, though her eyes remained focused and sharp. She was a being of great wisdom, someone who had seen much in her long life. Her species was known for their deep understanding and their peaceful ways, and now she was the one who would help determine Earth's future in the galaxy. "Welcome to the Galactic Council's neutral station," Tylara said in a soft, melodic voice. "I am honored to meet you, President Wright, General Riker. The galaxy has been watching you. Your rise to power has been unexpected, but now we are here to listen. We wish to understand you." President Wright stepped forward, extending her hand. "Thank you for welcoming us, Ambassador. We come in peace, and we wish to show the galaxy that humanity is ready to contribute. We are not here to conquer. We seek cooperation, not conflict." The two shook hands, the gesture symbolizing the start of a new chapter. It was the first step toward peace, and yet there was still much uncertainty. The room was filled with representatives from other races, each one watching the humans closely. The atmosphere was tense, as if every word spoken would decide humanity's future. Tylara motioned for the group to follow her as she led them down a long hallway. The walls were lined with holograms displaying the different species of the galaxy, their cultures, and their histories. It was a constant reminder that humanity was just one small part of a much larger universe. As they walked, Tylara spoke softly. "I must admit, I am curious. Your species has achieved much in a short time. I have read about Earth's history, its struggles, and its triumphs. It is fascinating to me that you have come so far, and yet, your journey is only just beginning." General Riker looked over at her. "We've fought our battles, Ambassador, but we've also learned from our mistakes. We know what it means to struggle, and now we want to use what we've learned to help others, to build something greater than ourselves." Tylara nodded thoughtfully. "That is a noble goal. The galaxy has known war and conflict for so long. Perhaps humanity's fresh perspective could bring about a change, but there are many who fear your rise. Some races, especially the Zorathians and Sark, believe that you will use your power to dominate them. They are not so willing to trust." The mention of the Zorathians and Tark made the room feel even heavier. General Riker's face hardened. He knew that some races saw humanity's power as a threat, but he also understood that peace would require time and trust. "We are not interested in domination," President Wright said, her voice firm. "We have no desire to conquer anyone. We've seen what war does to a species. We only want the chance to prove that we can bring something positive to this galaxy." As the delegation reached the central meeting room, a massive table sat in the middle, surrounded by seats for each species. The room was filled with representatives from various races, their eyes all fixed on the human leaders. It was time for the most important conversation humanity had ever had. Tylara motioned for President Wright and General Riker to take their seats. The meeting began, with the Signos diplomat asking the first question. "What is it that you want from the galaxy, President Wright? What does humanity seek?" Wright took a deep breath before answering. "We seek to be part of something greater. We want to help build a future where every race, every species, can live in peace. We don't have all the answers, but we know that together we can create a galaxy that is strong and united. Humanity has much to offer, and we're ready to share it." The room fell silent for a moment. The words hung in the air, and every race present considered what had just been said. Was this truly the path forward? Could humanity's intentions be trusted? The next few hours were spent in deep discussion. The humans explained their history, their advancements, and their dreams for the future. They listened to the concerns of the other races and promised to work together to solve the galaxy's problems. Slowly, piece by piece, they began to earn the trust of the galaxy's leaders. By the end of the meeting, the tension that had filled the room began to lift. The galaxy's representatives didn't fully trust humanity yet, but they saw something new in them. There was potential. There was hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, humanity could be the force of change that the galaxy had been waiting for. As President Wright and General Riker left the room, they felt a sense of accomplishment. It was just the beginning, but they had made a lasting impression. The road ahead would be difficult, and there would be many challenges, but for now, they had earned their place in the galaxy.